every system should have a purpose. And so I talked about this. Every system should have a purpose, but we've always done it this way is not a strategy. And so tradition can have value, especially, I mean, we're talking about ministry and in the church world, right? And so tradition is very strong in churches, and it can have a lot of value, but we need to be careful that we're not just blindly following something that's outdated. And I know that this subject right here could be touchy and controversial. I think it's only controversial if people misunderstand what we're saying, because we're not talking about changing holiness standards.
Right.
We're not talking about changing methods of worship. We're not talking about doctrinal things at all. We're talking about if you're following a system. Okay, I'll tell you a story. This is I think my dad told me this story, and I don't know if it's true or not, but there's a story. I think there's got to be some truth to it somewhere, but there's a story about this woman that got married, and she would, I think it was a ham. She would make a ham like every, I don't know, Christmas or whatever, let's just say. And she would get it, and she would chop both ends off, like a couple inches off of both ends, and then throw it into, what do you do? Do you bake ham?
You're talking to someone who's never cooked ham.
Okay, Anisha, what do you do?
Don't
Do you
really
bake
know
ham?
about.
I think you bake it.
Okay.
Don't
ask me that. Really, I don't know about ham.
Don't ask me any questions about cooking any type of meat.
Anyway, so I think it would be baked or whatever.
I just say go until it's blackened.
Put it in the microwave.
No, I would say go until it's blackened on some sort of grill until there is no pink.
Yeah, open flame.
So
for hours.
Anyway, she would put it in this pan and throw it in the oven. And she did this for a few years, and he was like, so why do you do that? Why do you cut both ends off? And she's like, well, I don't know. My mom always did it that way. And so that's how I learned. So that's what I do. So the next time or I don't know if it was the next time, but one time her mother's over visiting, and he remembered. He's like, oh yeah, hey, why do you cut both ends of the ham off before he thought there must be some kind of special recipe or way it cooks or the air. And she's like, that's the way my mom always did it. And so I don't know.
Yeah.
So finally, this is a good story. Finally,
I'm really invested.
Thank you for ensuring.
It's at Thanksgiving or Christmas or whatever it is.
I guess I'll keep listening.
And he remembers, and Grandma is there, old 80-year-old Grandma, and he's like, "Hey, why?" Yeah,
she doesn't remember. She does not remember.
Why did you cut the ham? The end of both of the ham of both ends. And he's like, because my wife does it, and she said it's because her mom did it, and she said because you do it. Why do you cut both ends off? And she said, oh, the pan I had wasn't big enough.
Oh, that's funny.
So she cut both ends off so it fit in the pan. So it's important to know. It's important to know why we have the systems in place. So every system should have a purpose.
Yeah, because then it's going to get down to the next person who it takes when you're old and can't remember what to do and stuff.
Yeah,
and you
when
have another
I get
person.
there, not far away from that.
Yeah, notice how I said when.
When.
And like if they're doing something and they don't know, they don't know why.
Yeah.
And so then it would just continue down the generations.
Yeah, and I have experienced that a little bit with, not because I'm old, but I have experienced that a little bit
to clarify.
With developing people like
you guys.
Yeah. Like in youth ministry though, for example, and I think I finally have maybe gotten it pounded through. But I've talked about music and I talk about like it's basically a first impression. And so I say, like, when people come in, like, especially to a game area, a lot of times we'll do split areas where we have, like, 3 games going on simultaneously. And so I tell them, have the music going, blaring, whatever, bumping music. So when they come in, That's the first impression. So it's like, oh, this is cool. And then turn it down and go over the rules or whatever. But don't like, well, we're going to have to go over the rules, so we'll turn it down, we'll turn it up later, because it's the first impression.
Yeah.
And so it's something that, this is like, this podcast is for me, because I think that I tell them, have the music blaring, but I don't articulate why good enough. So that they can understand, like, oh, okay, I get it. I get what you're trying to do.
I feel like you notice when it's missing, though. Because we were just at that event, and we were like, you guys need some music.
Well, also, I think it's really hard to back a system in which you're just obeying orders and you don't understand why.
Yes.
And so if you go on and on, oh, we need to have music, and then, like, you're not there anymore, and then they're just still saying it, and then one day it's going to be like, why are we doing this?
Yeah.
It's so much easier just to, we don't have to go in the computer, we don't have to. And so I think it's a lot easier when you don't understand the purpose for a system to let go of the system.
Exactly.
And then, because you're just like, you don't know the point.
Yeah.
It's like, what's the point of this?
Yeah, and that is so true. Another youth ministry example, just the other night, somebody was talking about something, and I don't want to get into the details, but it was one of our team one of our team that I'm trying to help develop, and they helped me out a bunch in youth. And so I kind of was explaining to them why we did a certain thing that we do, because I said it was about a specific youth night, and I said, yeah, it would be okay this time, but remember, here's the reason why we don't typically do this.
Right.
Because it will create this culture over time. And so this is why we do this. And so it kind of leads to another note on here, is that systems should serve the vision and not replace it. So the system is a tool. It's not the goal. So like what you said, it's the system or the structure of how we're doing something is to get us to the goal. It's not the end all goal. Right. We've done some in the past video production type things, and that video production on a high level is extremely involved. There's massive amounts of planning before you ever turn on a camera, and script and timing and lighting and just tons of stuff. And then the production phase, there's all kinds of steps, and then there's the post-production. So I use that as an example just because it's such a massive thing. On a high level, it's a massive thing. And so when you're like professional in that area, there's many, many systems that they have in place. And I remember when I first was kind of getting into doing video production, I was like, oh, we don't need to do that. We don't need to do that. And then you find out, you get all done with the production. Luckily most of our quote unquote talent is not like paid or have to travel, but you get done, you're like, oh, we need to reshoot that scene because we didn't do this.
Right.
We didn't have this in place. And so then you discover the hard way, why that system was there. And so the system is a tool. I don't know where we're at on we're running slow. I guess we got to speed this thing up. Okay, but one other thing, this kind of ties into what you were talking about, Shaylee, is purpose-driven systems invite innovation. So when you understand why something exists, you're more likely to improve it. Well, we talk about this with our Sunday school script all the time, is when you understand what today's lesson is. Like if today's lesson is on, worshiping God no matter what, let's just say. If that's today's lesson, then if you forget your part in the script, or if you're trying to just do ad lib, or if we're doing something spontaneous, or if you're having to do filler, anything, you know the context and you know what we're trying to teach. So now that gives you like the the focus and the direction. But then also, to take it a step further, if you know a script, or let's just use a Bible story, when you know it inside and out, when you take the time to pre-plan and you know it inside and out, that actually, it doesn't bind you up more. Like some people think like, oh, well, I have a script, now I'm stuck. I would rather just ad lib. But if you have a script and you know it extremely well, now you can ad-lib way better because you know it so well.
You know it's ahead. You know how to tie
I think
it in.
another part of that is like, well, okay, so we have segments and we have like an offering segment and a memory verse or whatever. And it's like, you can just go in offering and be like, hey, we're taking up offering.
Right.
But if you know, like, oh, today this person is going to get kidnapped and we have to pay ransom. Okay, like,
yes,
you're taking up an offer. Like, you can tie, or if you know the lesson and it can tie into the memory verse or the story, anything like that. It adds such another layer of just knowing your little section, reading your little section on the script, like
having that broader view,
having
of
all
why.
of that to know, like, how much cooler it can be is crazy because you
Way
could
more
have done,
connection.
exactly,
Yeah.
and it sticks more,
absolutely.
and it makes it less like mundane, like, oh, this is what they say every week. They say
yes,
it's like a script,
right? Worship is,
and haven't we been trying?
Offering is worship to God, which we say that all the time because it is, but it's like beyond that. It's like, instead of them saying, oh, this, I know it. Like, you know how sometimes the kids will yell stuff back to you and you're like, obviously we say that all the time. And so it's like something different.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say?
I forgot.
I knew that was gonna happen. I knew I should have just stopped. And
I think I was gonna say, like, haven't we been trying to focus all of our segments to the lesson? It's like an offering where instead of just going in like the gold hats, we're like, they're this character. Like Brennan has been a pirate like every other
for
week.
Plan of Salvation,
and he adds like something to the pirate.
So
Plan of
some
Salvation. Pirate voice
continuity.
the whole time.
Yeah.
I would glean nothing.
I was like,
would be like,
It's
here's
probably
your.
really loud in the mic.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, guys. Yeah, I was like, okay, here's your outfit. And he's like, no, I'm a pirate. It's been going on for 4 weeks. And I was like, oh, okay, my bad. Didn't mean to get in the way of that.
Yeah, him and Brent.
Yeah, and whoever's with him, which is someone different every week, he's like, you have to be a pirate.
Well,
like
no,
Krista.
it's usually Brent, but
he dressed
strong,
Krista up in a like an extra large men's shirt and the dreadlocks and was like, you have to be a pirate. I have a picture of her. That's funny.
And what's funny, that's not even our theme. Is not anything related to pirates at all.
Nothing related to pirates.